Hello there, and welcome to another Bearded Geek toy review. In today's episode, we're looking at the Obi Wan Kenobi Star Wars Retro Collection. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, and we have another video for you this weekend, the second within 24 hours. How lucky are you guys? It's just because I've realised I've got quite a lot of stuff that I've bought over the last couple of months, and I still haven't yet reviewed it because like other stuff that I've then since like purchased has took like priority, or I've suddenly like found something that's like a big bargain and then I've done a review on that, or something that I wanted. So, you know, these kind of things were planned to be reviewed like sooner, but they've fallen by the wayside. So what we have here is the Star Wars Retro Collection for the Obi Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series. Now, this was released late last year, and I didn't pick this up originally because Hasbro made the really intelligent decision of putting the price up from $9.99 a figure to a whopping $14.99 a figure. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. You know, I'm not getting this retro collection. I'll wait for it to get reduced, or, you know, I'll find it, if I get a bargain somewhere. So, yeah, I didn't pick it up. And obviously, what since happened is back in May, I was just happened to be looking on eBay, and I saw that somebody was selling the complete wave for £40, which is a £50 saving. So it was a bit of a no-brainer. So I bid for it. I was the only bidder. And there you go, I got the full wave for 40 quid, which is an absolute steal. Now, I already had the Darth Vader figure, and that's this guy here, because Game had started to reduce their Hasbro stock. And obviously, I've done quite a few videos of cheap stuff that I've picked up from Hasbro. Not Hasbro, from Game recently. And they'd reduced this to $7.99. So that was obviously great. I picked that up, and I was hopeful then when I picked this up way back, I think back in February or March, that they would reduce the rest of the retro collection or be able to find them. Now, the Obi Wan Kenobi figure they kept at $14.99. They didn't reduce. I did see the Grand Inquisitor get reduced to $7.99. Never picked him up, but didn't see any of the other three in the wave. So it's kind of like I was waiting until I saw the rest of them to pick them up at that cheap price. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because obviously it does mean that I was able to get that bargain on eBay, and it means that obviously because we have a spare Darth Vader figure, that we will open this one up, because usually I keep these guys on card just because of the nostalgia kind of thing, because of the retro aspect of them. So yeah, so we will open that, and we'll do a comparison of this Darth Vader figure to the original Kenner Palitoy version from 1978. So, moving on, this is the wave. It has Darth Vader in it, the Grand Inquisitor, Obi Wan Kenobi, Ned B, the droid, Reva, third sister, and the fifth brother. I know these were all the kind of like major characters that you saw in the series. Now, I've already talked about my thoughts of the series in the Black Series Obi Wan Kenobi figure review, where I reviewed the Obi Wan Kenobi figure and the Darth Vader figure in the 6-inch range. You know, it was all right, but it was a damn sight better when people had done their own fan edits and reduced it from the 6 like nearly hour-long episodes to a 2.5-hour movie. It worked a lot better, and the Obi Wan Kenobi series was originally planned as a movie, and then because the failure of Solo at the box office, they decided to scrap that stupidly. Don't know why. And then they obviously moved forward with pushing it as a Disney Plus series and expanded the script. And obviously they padded it out too much. So if you do see, look for the Kai Patterson Obi-Wan Kenobi cut. It is just short, I think, of 2.5 hours. It cuts a lot of the waffle out of the series, and it is a very, very good movie version of the story. So Usual packaging. Now, as you can see, I've already taken those awful retro collection stickers off using lighter fluid and lots of perseverance. And I just think they look damn sight better like that. Just look how much better that card back looks. So, yeah. So, here's the figure. Great image of Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. In the costume there, because obviously he came back for the series. Disappointingly, you know, a very, very dull back. Just obviously retro collection tells you what the 6 figures are. If you caught my Indiana Jones video that I uploaded yesterday, you'll see that I reviewed the retro collection Indiana Jones figure, and that had a picture, you know, of the figures in the wave. You know, Hasbro, come on. Do that. Just make the back of the card back a bit more interesting than all this, you know, bloody safety spiel, which you repeat in a bloody leaflet that is at the bottom of the packaging in the actual figure bubble, you know. So it is very, very silly. I won't concentrate too much on Darth Vader because we'll look at him in closer detail. There's the Grand Inquisitor. A lot of people did kind of complain about this, about the actor. His face wasn't thin enough compared to how that race of aliens is. And obviously, this character previously appeared in the Star Wars Rebels animated series. And I have seen some fans have even done like edited clips and where they've digitally thinned out his face. And he does actually look a lot better. But yeah, the actor who played him was very, very good. And that's a good representation of a Kenner-style figure, because obviously these are figures that are in the spirit of the original line from the 70s and 80s. You know, had, you know, these stories been available at the time, and had they released them way back in like the mid 1980s. So there you go, there's Obi Wan Kenobi. Obviously it doesn't look like Ewan McGregor because the likenesses, they weren't very strict with the likenesses on the original Kenner line. But yeah, you know, soft goods, which obviously by this time he would have if the figure was produced after the Return of Jedi figures. Again, so that's Obi Wan Kenobi. Oh, is he going to stand up? Is he going to stand up? Yes. And then you've got the Ned B droid, which is really cool, actually. I loved the look of this droid. I've seen in places the Black Series 6-inch version has been reduced. So I'm kind of like tempted, because obviously he was classed as a deluxe figure due to the size of him. So I am actually very, very tempted to pick him up if I see him cheap enough. Obviously, I'm not going to pay the full 36 quid that I think he originally went for. Then Reva, yeah, let's just touch upon obviously how much abuse this actress got from certain minority elements of the Star Wars fandom. It really was ridiculous. You know, and even Ewan McGregor commented on it on a social media post. It wasn't the best character arc for the character, you know, but the actress, you know, they do what they do with the material, and I thought she was good in the role. And the good thing about the Kai Patterson cut is it cuts out all the bit about going after Luke, which kind of like happened in that final episode. So it does kind of leave her as in, you know, her betrayal is found out by Vader. Vader, like, you know, impales her with the lightsaber, and it kind of like leaves in the movie version implied that, you know, like she's now dead. And I thought that was a far better ending for the character rather than her recover from lightsaber wounds, because, you know, historically in canon, lightsaber wounds can be extremely fatal, especially, you know, to the chest. So it was a bit of a surprise that in the series she actually survived. And there you go, there's the fifth brother, very accurate to his appearance in Star Wars Rebels cartoon, and now that he's debuted in live action as well. And there are talks of another series of Obi Wan Kenobi. I know Ewan McGregor is up for it. But obviously with the Screen Actors Guild strike and the Writers Guild strike currently going on, there are no new productions going into anything currently in Hollywood. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure, depending on how long the strike lasts, film companies and Disney in particular will be desperate to get stuff back into production to get that content out there. Otherwise, they're going to have nothing to offer viewers and subscribers and cinema goers. So I think, it's in their best interests to negotiate with the actors and the writers and get them a fair deal, which is, so I support, obviously, them striking, because in some instances, when it comes to streaming fees and stuff, the big actors like Ewan McGregor will get a nice little cut of it, but, the actors playing the lower roles get absolutely nothing. And these shows are streamed like millions and sometimes into the billions. And obviously that's all revenue generated for, the streaming parts of these companies. So anyway, there you go. Now, enough of the waffle. Let's get this guy open. Now, the beauty of having a spare figure, and one that I know I'm going to open and keep out of the box, as it were, is the fact that I can do this, and it's very rare that you do this. And then, this takes me back to being a kid. When I, first got a new Star Wars figure and literally just ripped the pill off the packaging just to get the figure out. I didn't really bother keeping the card backs. I did keep, I think, some of them, but eventually they all get thrown out, which is ridiculous, really, because the original card backs from the original figures from the 70s and 80s, some of the card backs go for ridiculous amounts of money. So that's just a regret that, I have. I didn't keep those things. So he comes with a lightsaber, very much in the style of, obviously, the later lightsabers from the Empire range and the Jedi range of figures. And then let's just pop this guy out. There you go. Oh, and obviously this guy now comes with a cloth cape, and he's a total resculpt of the original Darth Vader figure. Now what I'll do, I'll just put his lightsaber in his hand there. So as you can see there, that's a really, really good reimagining of the Darth Vader figure. Very much in the style of the original, and I'll do a comparison in a minute, but the legs are completely different, because the legs are including kind of like the parts of the costume, which is also usually fabric. So there you go. So let's just, that's a very good representation of what would be a later version of a Darth Vader figure had Kenner released it in the mid-80s and redone the molds on it. So let's get the original Darth Vader figure out from 1978 that I still have and do a comparison. So here's one of my old ice cream tubs featuring all my old original Star Wars toys. Let's have a look. Let's try and find Vader. Where's Vader? Is that Vader? Hey, there he is. Yeah, he's a little bit... I do actually have two, as I remember, because one of those is one that Zach, my son, picked up way back during a toy fair, and he got that very, very cheaply. And obviously, when he grew out of it, he said, "Oh, you can have that, Dad." I said, "Oh, thanks very much." So that one's a little bit more worn, but that's not the original that I had. That's a one that we got subsequently, because obviously mine's a little bit less worn on the chest plate there. Still got the original vinyl cape, although it is ripped, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, how they did the lightsabers in those early waves was they did it with a telescopic thing. So the lightsaber was actually built into the arm. So you can see there, you could then, ignite the lightsaber and have them fight. And obviously it wasn't quite exactly screen accurate. And it always had this protuberance at the end. And obviously the very, very first ones, which are quite rare, had a further telescopic thing that you could pull out even more to make the lightsaber even longer. But they soon amended that and made that shorter and got rid of the telescopic amount. So there you go. There's a comparison of obviously the figure, and as you can see, it is a complete resculpt. I thought the chest plate might be very, very similar or the same, but it isn't. They've really gone for a full resculpt there on the original. The face is kind of like the same. However, I do feel it's probably got better dimensions compared to the original figure. As I said, you know, these early figures from 1978 into 1979, 1980 into the Empire Wave weren't exactly fully screen accurate. It was only really when you got to the Return of the Jedi wave that they became more accurate in their detailing. But yeah, you know, it's got that aesthetic, it's got that retro aesthetic there. And like I said, you've got obviously difference in his legs because you haven't got like the skirt section there, which they've molded into the legs here. Because he had that like kind of like skirt section kind of that was also part of his costume, and then which then went up the sides and tucked under his breastplate. So yeah, there's a comparison of the original Darth Vader figure from 1978 and the new retro collection version. So that's a nice little comparison there. Just put those two guys down there. Are they going to stand up? Probably not, because these guys are notorious for not standing. Hey, they stand. Just an update on the retro collection in general. They have announced another couple of waves. The final 6 figures of the original 12 releases from 1978, from the first Star Wars movie, have been announced and in some areas have been released. I saw loads of them in the Star Wars merchandise shops in Walt Disney World Orlando. And they were going for around about, I think, $80 to $90. I'm not quite sure on the price. However, I've already pre-ordered that from Hasbro Pulse for £70. And that includes, obviously, it now includes a vac metalized R2-D2 and C-3PO. You've got the Death Squad Commander, you have Obi Wan Kenobi, and then you have the Tusken Raider and the Jawa. So you've got the final 6 of the original 12. So they are due soon. It was due in August, so I was hoping to probably do a video on that arriving soon when it arrives. But I've just checked Hasbro Pulse and they've pushed it back to September. So perhaps I should have picked up the pack when I saw it in the Tatooine Traders, Disney Hollywood Studios, you know, and then I could have done a sooner review. But I'm happy to wait just because the price was better on Hasbro Pulse. We've also got a further Return of the Jedi wave, which is a full wave of 6 figures, 5 of them redos of some of the original wave, and I believe it is the Emperor's Guard. We have the Gamorrean Guard. We have Wicket. We have, I'm struggling to think now. We have Yak Face. And who else do we have? There's somebody else, but we have a bonus 6 figure, which is Mon Mothma, which was never done in the original wave, but is being done in the retro style. Just quickly gone into my photos on my phone, and the other 5th figure, which is a redo, is Admiral Akbar. How could I forget Admiral Akbar? Yeah, so that's the Return of the Jedi wave. I'll show pictures of those 2 waves that are due soon at the end of the video. So there you go. There's the Obi Wan Kenobi Retro Collection wave. Another nice contribution, but I think it's good that Hasbro have kind of like listened to fans and they're going back now to the original line, because that's why the retro collection was done in the first place. I don't mind them doing the odd retro collection new figure, but certainly redoing the old original 97 I think is probably how they should continue with the range, with obviously the odd bonus figure in there. Although we do have a Book of Boba Fett retro collection wave coming. However, that is not up, as far as I can see, anywhere yet for pre-order, and that's due next year at some time. But I haven't seen that up for pre-order anywhere. So anyway, there you go. The Obi Wan Kenobi retro collection wave. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, then please leave us a like. It really does help out the channel, and also don't forget to hit that notification bell and that subscription button to get subscribed to the channel if you're not subscribed already. Lots more cool stuff to come, so in the meantime, stay tuned to Bearded Geek Toy Reviews, and we will see you very, very soon. See you now.